All right, good afternoon. How's everybody doing? Is everybody sleeping? How's everyone doing? Great. All right, so that's my style. I want you to be eyes on me because I couldn't see you clear. And I know that there are a lot of topics today, and I hope you're here, you enjoy your visit, and enjoy the conference. Most importantly, when you go back, you'll walk away with ideas, and you walk away with the thoughts that you go back to your team and make some changes. You know, Shri already mentioned the number one challenge right now for our domain is not technology anymore. It's the change. It's the courage to make the changes. So my talk is actually not very long, but I do want you to, focus, put away your phone, put away your laptop, and listen and think, and then walk away with some new ideas and to go back to your world. Sounds good? All right, my name is Weiyan. I'm coming from Nationwide Insurance Company. We provide a lot of products, property, casualty, financial products, and investment, and so and so. So I will skip the product because I understand you're not here to purchase a product. But I do assume you are one way or the other associated with the data science team. So I've asked some interactions. If you manage your own, you have a team, you know someone on a data science team, or your company has a data science team, raise your hand so I know who this talk is for. All right. So my first question is, what could, would, or does a data science team do? What's your answer? Insights. Anything else? Models. Great. I gave you points. My answer is a data science team we have is to generate the values for the company. How much value we have generated so far? Looking back for 3 years. 2017, my bigger team, not myself, our team generated $18 million of the benefits. Do you like it? In 2018, thank you. In 2018, we generated $28 million. And this year, our goal is $40 million. And I have to tell you right now, well, back to end of the June, we were able to generate $24 million. I think we are at a good trajectory toward the year end. We will be able to meet our goal, or at least get close. Do you like it? And this is why I'm here to share a few things, who we are, what we do, and what you can, borrow some ideas, or I can learn from you. I'd love to connect with my peers, learn some good ideas from you, and help our team to get better. So I heard a gentleman there talk about models. So what's our key capability is also model building. And to use some fancy word, we do traditional statistical modeling. We also use machine learning techniques. We do experimental design. And I think overall, it's around the model at the different types of them. And how do we deliver insights? Math is at the core of it, for sure, right? You have to do that. But around it, how do we differ? How do we stand out from others? We all have the math. And on top of that, surrounded is various models as a business solutions. So think about it. Model is not necessarily a solution for your business. You have to understand what they need, what they want, how they want to integrate it, and do they agree with you? Then it can be a solution, right? And that's still not enough. I think we have the common challenges, like, how can we help them to understand? How do we help them to buy in? And a lot of my peers were telling me here in the room or outside, they said, well, they don't sign off, right? You have good solutions. How can we help them to sign off? The masterful storytelling. There are people asking me over and over, what do you mean masterful storytelling? Storytelling is storytelling. But I tell you, there is a difference. from beginning to the end, there are ways you can do, there are things you can do to actually implement that. And I'll get back to that topic later on. So next, who we are. We started off as a 5-people team back 10 years ago. So over the 10 years of journey, the department has grown into about 100 people. And the core modeling team right now, we have about 40 people. And we maintain a very high ratio build to run, that's 9-to-1. So 10 people, 9 people are data scientists, and only 1 people is operation, managing project, and implementing things and working with business partners, understand what they need and everything else that we can support the data scientists because maker is going to make, right? We have to make sure they can focus. And by the way, our team strongly agree with a lot of philosophies that H2O team is working and all complying to. That's why we really love the company, love the product. So I want to highlight the diverse background and the tools are very critical. Why do I say that? And previously there was a topic, how do you recruit the talents? There are a lot of talents are there, but are they all the right talents for you, for the team? Maybe not, because people have personalities, right? You have to be very aware of what culture you are building on your team. It is critical. And we want to highlight the diverse means on our team, we don't specify what major you are, but we do have a very solid peer review and also the interview. We're making sure whoever we're hiring, you do have a very solid quantitative skills, regardless of what your background is. We have rocket scientists, we have people graduating from political science. Of course, your suspect will be statistical related, right? And you have engineers, you have computer science, and myself was from medical school and epidemiology background. And I can call additional, 10 more degrees on the team, but that doesn't matter. It matters what skills do you have and are you good at for the things we want you to do. So that's the talent background. And I want to also call out, for our team, we have people coming from more than 10 countries, speaking more than 15 different types of language. So that diversity is actually giving you a lot of perspective. When you come to the room trying to solve the problem, everybody brings some different perspective, right? Would you agree? And that talents are coming to the culture. And when we hire people, we allow people who are curious. And we allow people who continuously are learning every day. And they challenge each other. And they would ask, why is this? How can it be done different today? And that's all become our culture that we constantly build along 10 years. And in that way, people actually can be creative, and you build innovative solutions. And then you collaborate and back to build a great business solutions. And I highlight the word of rigorous, right? And I think for us, it's very important to make sure you always have the process that you produce a very rigorous product or solution. How do we do that? So I want you to pay attention to the process and the tools. I think right now we have equal access to the tools, right? Our team uses R and Python. I believe a lot of people in the room will use one or two or both. And we also use H2O. That's why you're here. And H2O is one of the best tools we have. And on top of that, there are TensorFlow, there are cloud computing. We all have access to it. But the process, I bet the process is what we do different than you. So throughout everything we do from the beginning to the end, we action as an internal consultant. We have peer reviews for every process. And we want to make sure we help each other to be the best. We help each other to pick up the things that you're not doing right. We all make mistakes. We have to be honest about it. But what's important is you find it out, you fix it, and you move on, you build better ones next time. So we loosely follow CRISDM. It's a cross-industry standard process for data mining. I have a second page on that. I'll come back to it. And then we have the style guides. So we have R style guides, Python style guides. We have SPSS model. That's where we implement the models. We have style guides for that one. We also have a GitHub, standard process. How do you set up? So, the 200 people on the team, when you use a GitHub, I can easily take Josephines code and run on my computer without significant recode. So those are important, when you expand the team, when you want to grow bigger and faster. And we also put a lot of emphasis on reproducible research. I don't know about your company, but Nationwide is very strict on the audit. We have a lot of things we need to follow, but we're willingly, to actually focus a lot on the reproducible research. That means whenever the model you built 10 years ago, but right now someone asks, what did you produce that time? What did you do? And what did you send it to the business partner? Can you do that? Ask yourself, can you do that? We can, because we have a process along the way. So this is the model lifecycle. I mentioned the CRISP DM. We loosely follow this one. That means we have a standard process, and we follow through each of them, so it's easier to measure the project. But we do have the freedom, to handle the project differently depending on which one you're working on. And for those who are not familiar, this is we start off the top box, that business understanding. That's your first interaction with your business. We have client onboarding. So we explain to them, what our general process will do and how they look like, what our deliverable will be. So, business start building trust from there. And then we start the data collection and data understanding. We all know that data is important, right? When you identify the right problem to solve, you have to identify the right data to solve your problem. So this is a relatively longer process. You have to work with the business needs and to identify the data, access to it, acquire data, right? And then clean up, understand. Then you can actually go to your next favorite thing. I believe a lot of data scientists, they're not really passionate about other things, but this box, model development. And I think, we utilize a lot of algorithm and machine learning techniques, and that's kind of, common for us. And I'm actually going to skip that and go to the next one, model validation. That's where the rigorous comes in again. Our team has a very extensive model review. So if you're a data scientist, you start off a project, you think you build the best, you did a lot of exploration, now you come up with the final model, okay. We're going to schedule 2 hours peer review, and you're going to share with your team everything you have done and code if it's necessary. And people were going to ask you very challenging questions. Why did you make that choice? Do you think that this is your best model metrics, and why is that? How are you going to, if you're giving enough time, are you going to have a better solution? With that solution, you will go next. So that's a very rigorous process for us. And if sometime I observe when people come into our peer review session for the first time, I can see people start pushing their chair away from the table because the conversation sometimes is fierce and they were a little bit worried. So then later on, we have to give people a talk. Just remember, people are coming to the room, we really come with the best intention. We're not fighting, we're only discussing what's the best solution that we build for the business. So a little bit of fun fact for that one. And then next part of the model deployment. So our team has a US PDO granted pattern. We call it a model factory. So that model factory was stood up 10 years ago. We provide three different types of the delivery. When we will talk about the deployment, there are 3 things we could do. One, that's a real-time service. So think about the insurance. When you're trying to buy auto insurance, home insurance, you submit the code, you want the answer immediately. So that's an example of the real-time service. The model is running immediately. Our model right now, there are a few ones, 40 milliseconds, that's where you get the answer. And then the second type is event-based. When you want to run this each quarter, you want to run a few marketing campaign. to understand where do you allocate your money and how much you're getting from that investment. You don't know when you're going to run it, but you know a few times per quarter, right? So that's event-based. When you need it, you push that button, it will run for you. And then the third one is actually very common. It's called a batch-based. That's already, the timer is set. It depending on you run it every hour, every day, or every week, or every month, it's already set. When the clock is there, it's automatically running. So everything is built for it. So that's our model cycle. And I already mentioned we have our pattern, model factory. So it started running in 2010. Guess how much model run we have? I don't have a prize for you, I should, but guess how many releases we have? So 100 monthly releases, more than 100 monthly releases so far. And we have executed 500,000 model runs. And we also have the score mart that we already generated 25 billion scores, billions as in B. And I think all of this, the numbers reflect how we generate that $28 million last year, and then hopefully 40 million this year. And that's how our data science team are utilizing the skills we have, the tools we have, the process we have to actually increase the profitability of the company and mitigate the risk and know our customers. So now I'm going to ask you to close your eyes for 3 seconds. Think about the people you know who are on the data science team and things they do. The 3 seconds. And what you can make suggestions to them or what changes you're going to make. Okay? You can think more when you go back home, but that's the main topics I'm going to cover. Typically, I think every page is going to take more than an hour to really get into the details, but I will leave a few minutes if you want to ask questions or connect with me afterwards. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Weiyan. We do have a few minutes for questions, so hands up and we can get the mic over to you. Okay, so question over there.
Hey, just a quick question. How does your data science team hand over models to your production team?
We have, so the delivery has 2 pieces. We have our internal delivery team within our department. So those people work with us in the beginning of the project, so we understand before we build the model, we already understand what pattern we're going to do, so we can start design that. And we also have an IT business partner outside of our team, so we work closely with them. And typically, 1 week after our team, and the model will be in production in the enterprise-wide. So that's how we manage efficiency. Good question. Thank you.
Hi.
Yes.
Thank you. I have a question related to the model validation. You mentioned you have a peer review challenging. Yes, you can challenge conceptually, and then most of the time, modeler might already prepare the answers, right? So I wonder how much time you actually allocate to the model validation team to actually validate model before it goes to production.
So we're not necessarily allocating the time or necessarily, we don't really have a team to do that. Data scientists are actually doing themselves. But typically, this comes to the operational model. For example, I'm a director, I have 10 data scientists on my team. I have five more peers, they have their own team. So at administratively, we have vertical organization. But project-wide, we're very virtual. That means I work with people from different teams, and my team work with the different leaders. So that validation is already built in the model development. I think it's set up as a different circle, but actually you're validating the model when you're exploring them, right? So you probably explore 5 different approaches, and you come with your final model. You already did your validation. But now you need more peers to actually talk with you, discuss with you to have different insights. I hope I answered your question. Thank you.
We have one more.
It's time for one more question, maybe?
Here. Hi. I want to ask a question. Hi. About what is there a standard to decide whether it's traditional statistic model versus machine learning model, or it's just case by case?
So typically we do iteration. I think there are also people called agile. We typically have a very first baseline model. You can use a very traditional, if it's a binary, you have regression and largest regression. So you have a very quick first prototype, and then you go for the other algorithm. So you know how much you can improve your model, and also you can actually easily explain those to your business partner. As long, when they buy in your approach and you says, okay, now this is the baseline. If I can get a better model with better accuracy, are you in for it? So I think we do iteration. Typically, our model development will be 12 weeks. It's very quick. But typically, we ask them to use a week or two to build a prototype. And then we do have a license for driverless AI as well that can be used for the exploration as well.
Thank you.
Thanks. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.